Hello and welcome to the big show. This is Dim Lights and Stiff Drinks, the dive bars of Seattle. We're setting out to document those bars that have a seedy backstory and interesting history behind them. But we're not just talking about these places in the quiet confines of some home studio somewhere.
No.
Nay. We're actually visiting these places and recording each episode live on location. Tonight, we're kicking off season 4. We're back, baby. We're back, and we're at the Thunderbird Tavern in Ballard. And joining us, as always, is the guy that makes things tick and makes things talk. I am, of course, talking about producer extraordinaire Bob Trombley. How you doing, Bob?
Good, Brad. How are you doing?
Doing awesome. Good, man. And, of course, my two co-hosts, Lou and Jeremy. How are you boys doing?
Doing all right. I'm going to go by, how about MC Boomerang?
MC Boomerang?
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Good one.
That was pretty good.
Nice.
How are you doing, Lou?
I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here. Someone actually asked me this week when I was going over our list of what we've done and what's on this list. He's like, "Are you guys running out of dive bars?" And Rex,
Hell no.
Actually, no.
No.
we got the list for this season.
We got another 15 seasons to go. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, we
we're
expand
still
the
going
footprint
strong.
a little bit to Ballard and Snohomish.
Yeah.
And
And in fact, I think later in the season, we'll give a couple little teasers about what's coming up later in the season and in seasons subsequent.
No spoilers.
No spoilers,
man.
not
Sorry.
not right now.
But yeah, we're back for season 4. It's crazy to think about. This is season 4. Like we embarked on this journey a few years ago, and here we are. We're still going strong. Yeah.
where are we at going strong tonight, Brad?
We are at the Thunderbird Tavern, and yeah, I feel like there's a lot of because how long has it been? 4 months or so? Is that when we recorded?
Oh
it?
no, we were slacking. We took a Christmas break. We all took some summer breaks.
So maybe 5 months. Has it been that long? It's
Been
been a minute.
a while.
And I feel like a
all of our
lot-
listeners are like, "What the hell?"
Well, I feel like a lot has happened since then that we need to catch up on. But more recently, in our little universe, I'm sure you guys heard about this, but our friends at the Liquor Control Board decided to raid a bunch of gay bars a few nights ago. Did you guys
What?
hear about this?
What? No
It
fucking
was all
way.
over social media.
Really?
No, it was a really weird thing. So
they-
they raided all these bars and cited all kinds of ridiculous violations. And of course, it went over like a lead balloon here in Seattle. People weren't psyched about it all. Tons of public backlash about it.
Oh, good. Like everything's good.
Yeah, and they backtracked and they released, like an apology statement and stuff. But it was really weird. Like none of the bars they visited actually had any liquor violations. Like they weren't serving minors alcohol, nothing like that. Nothing to do with booze. The violations were
So
weird.
somebody got a wily hair up their ass and
Well, like
just
one of
trying
the
to.
violations, they went in one bar and a guy was walking around shirtless, and so the violation they
violation.
cited was
it
an
neighbors?
exposed.
There's like 30 men with their shirts off
Well,
when the
the-
clock hits midnight. Like,
The violation was exposed male nipple.
Oh,
what kind of violation
that's like a
is
Class C felony, I think. Yeah.
But what does that have to do with alcohol? Like, what a weird violation.
Absolutely nothing.
Exposed male nipple?
That is the stupidest
especially
shit
here
fucking ever.
because it's such a tolerant city.
Yeah.
That, it's like the board of Footloose just took the town over. Now.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yeah,
the liquor
that's
control board.
Totally
They've been
reaching
like
for
that
straws.
since
Like,
their
well,
inception.
we raided the place. We got to find something to write up in the books here.
Well, that's why people were pissed off. It was like they were intentionally. Why were they just going after these bars and coming up with all these ridiculous violations and stuff? So they've since backtracked, but it goes to show you that the liquor control board. I mean, they have a history of these ridiculous laws on the books. I mean, it wasn't until 1969 that women could actually order a drink for themselves because of this liquor control board. It was one of their laws.
That's true.
Same
Listener
thing with
of the
the-
podcast has heard a lot of these stories, right, Brad? You've brought them up several
Oh, for
times.
sure.
Yeah, we've
yeah.
talked about
Oh,
a lot.
for sure.
Yeah. So I guess the takeaway is we can't do any of our podcasts shirtless. going
Oh,
forward.
what?
No
Oh.
nipples. I'm sorry, guys.
God damn it.
Yeah. So, well, anyway, let's jump into the
Actually,
history.
we should do the podcast shirtless just to show those motherfuckers that we're not going to be taken down.
Suddenly the doors bust open.
Hey, man,
Bunch
get
of
that shit on
agents come in.
mic.
Yeah. No, that would be podcast gold, right?
Podcast gold.
Yeah.
I would absolutely wear that as a badge of honor. Yeah, I got arrested for exposing my nipple.
Crazy times we live in. Well, let's get into the history of this place, but first, a word from our brand new sponsor, the Stedman Group. Dim Lights and Stiff Drinks, the dive bars of Seattle, is proud to be sponsored by the Stedman Group.
The Stedman Group is a local independent business that owns and operates Targey's Tavern, profiled here in Season 1, Episode 9, The Pogie, Season 2, Episode 12, The Duval Tavern in Duval, and Larry's Tavern in West Seattle.
All of us here at the podcast are pretty tough critics when it comes to how the local dive bars are being run, and we have always been extremely impressed with all the dive bars owned by the Stedmans. This is because all drinking establishments, especially those that have been around for a while, each have their own unique character and charm, and it's obvious when you walk into a Stedman's bar that you are devoted to maintaining that tradition. And for that, we raise our glasses and cheers.
The Stedman Group, committed to preserving the legacy of dive bars throughout the Puget Sound region.
And let me just say, we are super stoked to partner with the Stedman Group. So they are a husband and wife team, and that's their business. They run and operate and own dive bars. So they're quite literally like a true independent mom and pop operation. And one of the things that I really love about the Stedmans is they're really dedicated to preserving the historical legacy of these dive bars. We're all about the same thing, so it's a beautiful partnership. So a big salute to the Stedman Group. So welcome aboard. Well, let's talk about this place. So, yeah, we are at the Thunderbird Tavern tonight.
Beautiful downtown Ballard.
Beautiful downtown Ballard. Yep, on 15th Ave. Almost kitty corner from...
Water wheel.
Water wheel.
Water
block,
wheel, yeah.
Block down. Absolutely.
Is that place still open? Because they were slated to close.
It is. This is January 2024, so if you're listening to this podcast in the year 6000, it's closed since then. But
Okay.
yes.
But currently they're open.
Yeah.
Okay, good for them.
The keen listener of our show will notice that we actually did their obituary on a previous one where we had some news that, water wheel's closing.
Well, I
Get there
think it still
before-
might be happening. It's just a
Get
matter
there
of
before
when.
June, because
Yep.
that's when it was going to
The
close
days
down,
are
like in
numbered.
June, right?
Yeah.
The days are numbered.
Yeah, I think their days are
okay.
still numbered.
So the standing order still stands. Get thee to the Thunderbird.
Get
Or
thee to
it's
the
all gone.
Thunderbird, get thee to the water wheel, and we should probably return to both these joints pretty soon because the condos are coming. The condos are coming.
Yeah. I don't know about the status of this place, but yeah, the water wheel sounds like its days are definitely numbered. Well, here at the Thunderbird, so this place first opened in 1938 as Olson's Tavern. So meaning that it's continuously operated as a bar here at this specific location for 88 years. So that's pretty awesome.
That's a good long history.
Yeah.
88
Not the
years.
Definitely earned your
longest,
good
stripes.
number.
pretty darn long, especially
Yep.
for this neighborhood.
I would say so. Their motto was beer, entertainment, and good times. So pretty simple. They just kind of boiled it down to the
Right to
essentials.
the point. Love it.
They got to the point. Well, there wasn't such good times in all its early days. In 1939, a Seattle patrolman responded to Olson's after a female bartender.
Police blotter. Here we go. Police
It's
blotter.
kind of a police blotter thing, yeah. The bartender by the name of Goldie Fuller, a female bartender, called the police to report that a group of 3 men were harassing her and threatening her. So when the patrolman arrived here, he immediately, spotted the 3 guys, went to intervene, and they
Were they
swarmed him.
shirtless?
I don't know. The
Could-
article didn't say. That's a good.
We don't know.
That's a good question.
We don't
though.
know.
That's a good
Okay.
question because that would add it to
We'll
the
have a
charges.
follow-up episode where
Yeah.
we research this.
But anyway, he responded. These guys jumped him and beat the crap out of this patrolman. Really just a gruesome beating. He was hospitalized from this. The guys didn't run out of the door, but they were caught a while later and charged with assault. And they ended up doing prison time, right? But there's a plot twist to this whole saga.
They escaped from prison.
They did not escape from prison. It's even worse than that.
Worst.
So, after they were released from prison, it came out in the papers that the female bartender, Goldie Fuller, was married at the time and was having an affair with one of the 3 men.
Inside job.
Oh.
Well, I think they were just having a lover's spat or whatever, and she was like, I'll show you, I'll call the cops. And she called the cops, and then it got way out of hand. But after the guy got out of jail, she left her husband and ended up marrying the guy that did the assault.
Oh, so
But
it's
what
got
a
a happy
shitty
ending.
move.
Wow.
Yeah, she called a cop almost lost his life, getting the crap beat out of him, just
because she was trying to fuck
Yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
They
That's
ended
messed up.
marrying him. Now I don't imagine that relationship would have had a long shelf life. This Goldie Fuller and this guy that got out of prison. Right?
A week later,
What do you think? A year?
they're both dead in a ditch.
You think it lasted a year or even that?
No, not even a year.
And
No, that's way too
100%
long.
there was domestic violence at some point, right? I mean, that's pretty much a given.
I like to think they settled down and lived a nice, long, happy life. He went back to college. She went to college.
Nice house with the white
Got a
picket
little
fence.
Mary Kay Letourneau vibe going on there.
Yeah. Retired in Squim. Beautiful
Yeah.
views of the Cascades.
Well, anyway, so that happened in 1939. Sometime in the early 1940s, it became the Pilot House Tavern.
Good name.
Which it operated until 1959, and then it became the Thunderbird. Another kind of small police blotter item in 1967, the safe here was stolen with $1,000 inside. But what was up with all these places that had safes? Like, didn't they have banks
There's
back then?
lots of safe stories.
Yeah, a lot of safe
some
stories.
were some better than others, but like stealing the whole effing safe,
They sold the whole safe.
you know, A for effort right there,
They always-
right?
And they always had a ton of money. I mean, $1,000 in '67 was a big chunk of change. Like, you can't put that in a bank. You got to keep it, even if it's in a safe. I mean, it's like,
It's hard to fit that under your mattress.
yeah, I guess so, right?
Yeah.
So in 1969, we're still in the 60s. A guy by the name of Don Fay operated
Donald
this place.
Fagan?
No, Don Fay. He was kind of like a superstar chef in Seattle at the time.
Oh, okay.
He was kind of the Tom Douglas of his
Yeah.
day, and he operated this place. And he had his friend, this
So
lady.
wait a second. If he's operating this joint back in the '60s, did they
Yeah.
have awesome food?
They probably did. I mean, they probably, if he was a chef, it probably goes without saying.
And
If
a
there's
follow-up episode.
Yeah.
What they were serving in the '60s?
Fish and chips.
probably fish and chips,
Famous
burgers,
fish
yeah.
and chips. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how
World-famous
fancy
fish
it
and
is.
chips.
But
Tom
he had
Douglas
this.
level fish and chips.
So he had this lady, his friend, come in and play. Her name was Edith Lundgren, and she was a harpist. She was a harpist for the Seattle Symphony, and she also played at the Seattle World's Fair. So she was like kind of almost a celebrity at the point. But he
A
would have
power
her come
couple,
in.
one would say.
But what a weird thing! He would have her come in here and play the harp.
Dive bar harp music.
Yeah, and I guess guys would like flipper shit and stuff, which of course you would expect.
Not.
Hey, turn off that hop!
Yeah. But she had a good comeback. So whenever someone would like give her crap,
Freebird?
I think that was before Freebird. It was 1969. When did Freebird come out?
Yeah, that's
It was probably like what, Twist and Shout. That was probably the request that she heard. But anyway, so whenever anyone flipped her crap, she would tell them, "This is the closest you'll ever get to heaven." That was her comeback. I thought
Oh,
that was pretty
good comeback.
Yeah.
That is a good comeback.
So she was willing to.
I thought you were going to say
that.
she would punch them in the face.
That was after she told them that.
She's a harpist, but also a badass.
Yeah. But what an odd pairing: a harpist and a dive bar.
Harpist and a top-notch chef.
Yeah, I
And
guess it's old Seattle. Though,
maybe
right?
we should try to bring that back. I mean, we
bring
have
back
some
the
we
harp.
have some influence in the dive bar world in Seattle. Maybe
Yeah.
we can bring it back. We can bring back hype harp music at a dive bar. Yeah.
You have to have a
Yeah.
pretty big, like a pretty good sized house to have a harp, because harps take up a lot
Yeah, I
of
was
real
going to
estate.
say, just to bring it here, you'd have to have a pretty big truck.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
piece
right.
of furniture.
Yeah.
And it's worth $50,000. Like, and you just
Yeah, and
stick
it has
it
to
in
be
the corner
handled
of a
with-
Well,
Right,
shit. I mean,
right.
we're at the Thunderbird, sitting right next to a big ass roll up garage door that goes to the outdoor patio. You could easily wheel in a car.
You think
a
that's how
harp
they
here,
got
no
the harp
problem.
back in the day? They just
Oh.
opened up the garage door.
Well, I don't know about that, but next week when we bring harp back in unannounced to the Thunderbird. Oh, hey, you mind if we set up in the corner?
Well, in the 70s, it went from harp and it became a go-go bar. So they had go-go dancers here. That would have been
So
awesome to see.
exchanged the harp for a cage.
I guess so.
All right.
Yeah, but they had full-on go-go dancers here, like with the boots and the skirts and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, doing the shimmy shake,
Yep, yep.
doing the swim.
Was it Laughing? That show Laughing?
Yeah,
that
that's
was
totally
go-go
the
dancers,
go-go
right?
Dancer
It's got to be hard
style.
to go dance to harp music, but what do I know?
Yeah. Anyway, so it's been the Thunderbird pretty much ever since the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It changed owner in the early 2000s, and I think it had a couple different names. At one point, they renamed it Thermos, which is kind of a weird name. And I was
It
looking
promptly
for
got
ads that it,
sued, right?
Well, it was weird. It was an old punk bar, but also a sports bar. Like they tried to combine the two, and I don't think it worked out.
Two groups that want nothing to do with each other. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, it was a weird combo, but they would have bands come in, like they had the group The Farts come in. You guys know about them?
Duff
The early
McKagan.
punk, Duff McKagan,
Shout out,
early Seattle punk
Sun.
band. Yeah,
Whose first punk band was very influential on the West Coast.
yeah, and there was a group here called The Accused that were really hot, probably mid '80s. I saw them live a couple times, and they were from The Farts too. Yeah, yeah. Do you know Blaine? Yeah, he's West Seattle, right? Oh, okay. So I guess they played here while it was Thermos, but it didn't last as Thermos very long because again, like a sports bar, punk bar combo. I don't know. It sounded good on paper.
I'm
to
really
someone,
curious about like if it's a true like punk style bar. What is the popular sports that's being shown on the big screens there when your punk crowd is
I don't know.
Olympic level drinking, glue sniffing. All right, okay. Some sort of wrestling version, maybe something.
So anyway, it
But
went through a
niche, real niche
different.
wrestling.
It went through a different couple incarnations, and it was about to close in 2014. It was like right on the verge of shutting its doors forever. But a person by the name of Madison Eichendorf and Ian Smith, business partners, they bought it, and they were one of those that really appreciated its history and kind of embraced like what it was all about. So they reopened the place as the Thunderbird.
Resurrectionists.
Resurrection. We've talked about this before. This has happened at many of the dive bars we've been
God
at.
bless them.
They're on the verge of closing. Some figure comes in and saves it at the last minute. Like the Stedman Group.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here without those visionaries.
Yep. Dykeman up at Daryl's Tavern, another one. Saved it from the brink. In fact, they told the reporters at the time, we have embraced the very essence of dive, and I tried best to be welcoming to all. I am not reinventing the neighborhood tavern. I want to bring back the cozy bar with cold beer and good people. So that's how it's been operating ever since.
That's
So good
exactly
for them.
what's happening here tonight.
Yep.
Damn straight. That's why we're here.
Now, coming up recently, so about 4 months ago, did you guys hear about this? I remember when this happened. There's a little shoot, bang, bang here. A little shooting incident.
Here at the Thunderbird.
Yeah, like
Ooh, another
two
police blotter.
people were in here. One guy was given apparently the stink eye to someone else. The guy didn't appreciate being
starts
the
with the
recipient
stink
of stink
eye.
eye. It all starts with the stink eye.
Stink eye and
It
the
went
wrong
from
guy.
stink eye to a shooting out in the street in front of the place. The police responded. People were arrested. Yada, yada, yada.
Was there a safe involved?
No safe, no
No.
heart.
I'm
It was just
surprised
stink
I
eye.
didn't hear about it because my wife follows all those neighborhood groups, and every time anything happens within a 10-mile radius, we're moving tomorrow.
Oh, really?
He's like, there was someone shot by our pediatrician's office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone died out of this, but it was on the news for a couple days. It was
Oh,
kind of
okay, that
talking
could have been
town.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no fatalities.
She's okay with
There wasn't
flesh
shootings.
wounds.
And again, that was just a few months
Somebody
ago.
was shot in front of the Thunderbird. Oh, it's Thunderbird? Oh, that's all right. Yeah.
So the bar itself, again, has been here since 36, and it's been operating as the Thunderbird since 1959. So happy to be here. And Jeremy, with that, why don't we talk about what you're drinking?
Yeah, for sure. So, I would kind of call you guys
What's the
chime
tap
in here.
for it here?
We'll get to that. Hold on.
All right.
So, we were talking about the history of the place and why we're here and how it was saved from the brink of abyss by visionaries who bought the bar, brought it back, and had like a core kind of vision for the bar, thus bringing us here in the first place, right? But you look around and I kind of think I get like a nouveau dive vibe, right? Like it's clearly a dive bar, and you talked about the history of it, and it's
I don't
it's
know if
got
I
the
put the
dive
word
feel.
nouveau in there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right
well, how
behind
about,
Brad is a giant stack of wood. Like
all
they're
right.
getting right, like there's a wood stove that heats this place up in the wintertime.
Oh, how about neo dive?
Neo dive? What? How would you define neo-dive as opposed to just a regular
I'm
dive?
glad you asked there, Brad. So,
here's all old,
one
man.
thing I noticed about this place is it's got the patina. It's got the patina of a classic dive bar, but it doesn't have like the 60s, maybe 70s, if you're lucky, kind of patina, like the velvet walls and the smoke stained ceiling and stuff. Like some of the dive bars we've been to, it has a little bit more of a more contemporary patina to it.
So maybe it kind of reinvented itself a little bit when they got it.
A little bit.
When they
a little bit. Not in a bad way.
renovated in
Right?
2014.
It's still got the dive bar vibe, the reason why we're here in the first place, but it's a little bit newer vibe than some of the places
I would
we've
like
been
to
to.
clarify that it's newer can also mean clean.
It can.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not a fancy new
can.
setting. It's still black soundboard. Maybe they repainted.
Well, they got the
scrubbed
exposed
wood.
AC and HVAC.
Yeah.
And not trying to
It's
be,
just,
not doing it in a cool way, like new industrial. Like this is true. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, they just cleaned the joint.
That-
Yeah, they just
put a
cleaned-
slap
That
coat
heater
of paint
unit has
on
been
it.
here since the 70s.
yeah.
And God bless them, they use the tried and true method of hiding the true grunge, which is paint everything black.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a cool place. Definitely fits the dim lights and stiff drinks vibe that we always go after. And of course, it has some good grit under its fingernails from being here for so long. So, yeah.
Absolutely, and you can hear from the background what's going on. There's 2 pool games going on next to
Yeah,
us.
we're right
There's
next to the pool
jukebox
tables.
a bunch of
cranking
chatter.
stuff.
Weezer, Say It Ain't So was just playing.
Good
Something you don't see if
good crowd in the bar.
nowadays, although you used them at the pool.
Pool tables, yeah.
Used to be
Yeah.
synonymous, but now it's like
Yeah,
You don't see it as much.
50, maybe.
Yeah.
We're about I think our record is about a third of the places we've been to appeal, maybe quarter. Yeah, it's a good point. Back in the day, it would have been 72%.
Go to the Buckaroo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what are you
oh,
doing
yeah.
if you don't have a pool table in your bar?
All right. Let's get back to it. What are we drinking here?
What are we drinking?
Quick report on the tap list at the bar. So we got an L-shaped bar, which is a couple places we've been to with L-shaped bars. Not the full-on U-shaped bar, but still kind of a classic L shape. But it's kind of tucked in the corner, which is weird. So you got like everybody's sitting on one end of the bar, everybody's sitting on the other end of the bar, kind of like shoved into a corner. So it's a little weird, but it gives a little kind of an intimacy, especially if you're off in that little dark-ass corner where you can go and drink by yourself. But one thing I noticed about the taps at this place, that's been like, again, probably maybe at a quarter of the bars that we have, they have old school tap row with like, say, 6 taps in a brass kind of cabinet style thing with the tap sticking out and little handles and all that kind of stuff. And then they have something that was clearly added afterwards.
Yeah.
So maybe in the the
Little second
70s
half
or
rack.
80s, exactly 70s or 80s, like you kind of described. Maybe some owners changed hands or something, and somebody came in and said, "Oh, we need some more taps," and they slapped in a round rotunda style,
The
tap
Euro
that's
style,
got- exactly.
right?
It's got like 4 handles on it. So now we have the old school 6 handles plus the newer school, maybe 70s, 80s remodel fresh tap handles, and a collection of like approximately 8 taps.
So just the taps alone kind of tell a little bit about its story, kind of.
Like
If
each
you
owner
know where to
sticks in a
look.
new
That's
set
right.
of taps.
That's right. If you know where to look, casually you can be like, "Oh, what's on tap? Oh, I'll take this, and that." But if you look a little closer, it's like, "Wait a second, there's 2 sets of taps. What's the history there?" And of course, nobody's gonna ask themselves that, but us. Anyway, good selection of beers on tap. I am sampling a delicious Sea Pine Winter, which is it's dark, it's malty, it's rich and delicious, but a little unique in that typically a winter ale, like the name implies, dark winter ale, this is actually a Sea Pine Winter Lager. So it's a dark, malty, very delicious lager in a winter ale style. Quite delicious.
Is it lighter then? It's a longer
It is not. It is not. It's deceptively lager-ish. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think we're going full sea pine, judging by the tints on mine and Brad's. We're drinking
Yep.
the same thing, right?
Yeah, I don't even know what kind of sea pine I got. I just saw the word sea pine. I was like, oh, the sea pine. But I wasn't even 100% sure, like, what kind of sea pine I was getting. Do you know?
there's
It
a
was
sea
the
pine,
lager.
It was a lager. It tastes like a lager.
and there's
And
also
it was delicious, too. It's not...
Yeah.
It's got a nice underbite on it.
Great brewery.
Yeah, in fact, we always like to give a shout out. Like Georgetown's kind of the 900 pound gorilla, right? But Sea Pine's been popping up more and more and more.
Definitely.
Since
And,
we've started the podcast, you've seen Sea Pine rise.
There's only one.
You've seen
No,
her
no,
profile
I would
rise.
correct. I'll stop
They
you
got
right
a
there, Brad. I
Bodie
would say
and 2 Sea Pines.
because of us, Sea Pine has risen meteorically
think
since
so?
we started this podcast. Oh, clearly. Yeah.
So you're saying they owe us some residuals then?
Oh, of course.
For
yeah.
their
Yeah.
success.
Yeah, and if you're listening from Sea Pine, you owe us.
We want the check, and we want it by next week.
You're welcome.
PO box.
But no, you mentioned Georgetown. They've got the
I'd say
the
you should
classic
be a
Bodhisattva.
sponsor, but you're just going to get free sponsorship no matter what because we love your beer.
Well,
Can't stop crowing
What would you
about it.
guys?
About every second bar we've gone to has had a Sea Pine, and it's almost always had a Georgetown, and of course.
But when we
Thunderbird's
first
got
started out,
Bodhisattva.
you didn't see Sea Pine as much.
No,
it was
not at all.
It was
Yeah, just
Yeah.
in 4 seasons of
yeah,
2.5
like maybe
Yeah.
season
years.
2 or so that you suddenly started seeing a lot.
Yep.
What would you say are the current top 3 breweries right now in Seattle?
Well, they
For
got
dive
a throwback
bars?
here. Did
Georgetown
you
is
see they have
obviously one.
Mac and
Georgetown for
Jacks
sure.
here?
Yeah.
Got Mac and Jacks. That's
Throwback.
another one that's kind of making a comeback, right? Yeah. African
No,
Amber making
I
a comeback.
I thought Mac and Jack's just sold. I don't know if they have a new owner or if they closed
I
down.
think that was a couple years ago.
Was it?
I think so.
Well, they're obviously still making beer. But what would you guys say is the 3 current top breweries?
No, it's Georgetown, no question. Usually there's like a Bodie and a Lucille and a
Yeah,
Johnny
for sure.
yeah,
Utah.
Georgetown's
And
definitely
they're-
one.
A staple for
There's
sure.
no bar that does
I
not
would
have
throw
Georgetown.
Sea Pine in there, and then
Pine.
maybe Hellbent. We're
Hellbent.
seeing Hellbent in a lot more places.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
is that's something that's changed over the last 4 seasons of this podcast.
Yeah.
Used to be like maybe we would see it in one or a couple bars we've been to, and now
Starting to see it more.
third.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
What do you say, Bob? You think so?
Yeah, I was gonna say Rainier.
Well, Rainier's always. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say ours would be bad as the elite. Although I know they got sold
Yep.
out, but you still.
Yep, Space Dust, very
Yeah.
popular.
Oh yeah, Space Dust. You can get all that stuff here too, but they got Rainier on
And Guinness.
and
Oh, do they have
Guinness.
Guinness up there too?
They do, which is not a lot of
Nice.
places have, but it's not
It's
like
like a winter beer. I wonder
not
if
an
it's like a
Irish
seasonal
bar,
thing.
but they got the Guinness.
Harps.
Oh, I see what you did there. Oh, yeah, harp. Good point.
Nice work.
Delicious. Well, I think with that, we probably need to take maybe a quick break for round 2.
Sounds good.
That is correct.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, we are back, baby. We are back. For round 2.
I gotta make a correction for what we drink it because I fucked up Royal and I'm gonna fess to it. Yep, I'm gonna fess to it. So
You weren't drinking a Sea Pine dark beer?
I am not. So you, Brad and Lou, are both drinking the Sea Pine Lager, which is delicious.
Yep.
I claimed I was drinking the Sea Pine Winter Lager, which is not true.
Let's get some corrections going here. What were
Yeah.
you drinking, Jeremy?
Yeah, what were you drinking?
Getting the DeLorean.
Was it Guinness?
It was not Sea Pine. It was a Silver City
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Winter Ale, which I was told was a lager, but it's not. It's actually a winter ale. Silver City Winter Ale, delicious, classic winter ale style from Silver City. Another awesome brewery. Not quite on the level like
One
we were
we're
talking
starting
about.
to see.
You're
We
starting
are.
to.
Yes,
Yeah,
we are
starting to.
starting to see more Silver City, which is great because one of my favorite breweries, but not quite at the level of like the Sea Pine or certainly not the Georgetown and shit like that. But yeah, another one, Silver City. Shout out to Silver City. And then, like you said, we've got some Guinness Stout on tap. It's kind of funny, Guinness, pretty well known, recognized beer, especially if you're like an Irish themed bar, which this is not. But Guinness is kind of tucked in the corner and the little tap around the edge and. Right, and it's like even when it's listed on the chalkboard behind the taps, it's like kind of buried, and you like barely read it. And you have to arch your back to read a Guinness Stout. So, but we've also got some other interesting stuff on tap that's worth kind of calling out. One is Jellyfish, another great great brewery that we do not see very often in dive bars, but occasionally
We've seen a few of them.
Market
couple
Time
of
in
them.
Fremont has it in the cooler. Shout out to anybody in
Well, they have
Fremont.
that very distinctive tap handle. That's what
Absolutely,
just like
absolutely.
stands out.
Very, very
Yeah.
cool tap handles. Started off as a tiny, tiny little brewery that wasn't in any goddamn dive bar in Seattle, but has over the last decade or so really made their name in the world and gotten into a few dive bars. So that's pretty cool. They've got a Jellyfish Pilsner on tap, some Bud Light, like you said, Bob. So good for them. But also another one that we haven't seen very often. We've seen it in a couple of bars, but that's just about it, which is a sour. Got Crucible Raspberry Sour. And I
Me and
tried
Jeremy
bit
did a
of
little
that.
taster
That's right.
of it.
A Crucible, great brewery, but we do not see Crucible in very many dive bars at all. And a sour, which we hardly see at all at dive bars as well. Raspberry sour, very delicious. Yeah.
Also, a callback to what you keep saying, Jeremy, like the diviest of dive bar in the middle of.
We're in Seattle, bitches.
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll have some amazing beers on tap.
Absolutely. You cannot be in a dive bar in Seattle and not have some
I
fucking
don't
killer
think we've
beers on
encountered a
tap.
dive bar yet that didn't, right?
Nope.
That just had Budweiser and Miller or something. Like,
Nope.
No.
Nope, this is Seattle.
No.
Yeah.
God bless it. That's why I stick around.
That's
why a lot of people
that's why
sit
we're
around.
here. That's why we're
Yeah.
all fat and happy.
Right on.
Awesome.
But we came back and I went from my delicious Silver City Winter Ale to a Hellbent Pale Ale, another
Okay.
delicious beer.
All right.
And then again, shout out to Hellbent, another one that we're seeing more and more in dive bars. Started off as tiny little brewery on Lake City Way, and has kind of grown to be almost like not quite a staple, but it's getting there. It's
getting there.
You're going to see it in
Yeah.
stores probably more frequently soon.
Exactly.
It's,
But certainly
stock
they're
is
about to
rising,
break
as they
through.
say. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
They're on the up.
Only in Seattle,
Yeah.
folks, right? The
Shout out to
diviest of
Hellbent
dive
Brewery.
bars are going to get some killer ass breweries that have only been around for a few years, such as Hellbent.
Nice.
Very nice.
What'd you get for round two, Lou?
I got the Stoop IPA.
Stoop IPA. Awesome. Another one. Great
Flavorful.
brewery. Not super popular in the dive bars, but awesome beer. Maybe making, rising up, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
They have a new tap house over in Bothell. Stoop Brewery. Delicious beers. Some
And
excellent
Brad's
pizza
milking
over
it. He did not get a round two.
Yeah. I'm just
It's cruise
still
control
on
tonight.
cruise control tonight. Yeah. Exactly.
man.
there. Chilling
Good
in.
man.
Yeah.
All right. Good for you.
Well, so I think that concludes what you're drinking.
Big shout out to on the TV here, since we are in a dive bar. There's some basketball. Bill Walton.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Bill
Shout
Walton.
out to Bill Walton.
Bill Walton. huh?
Definitely shout out to Bill Walton.
Bill Walton is the biggest deadhead of all time. You guys all know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always made a joke about the worst place to be in the Dead show is on the floor behind Bill Walton.
Yeah. Right.
He's like 7 feet tall.
Well, the what's his name? The old coach for the Chicago Bulls.
Bill Jackson.
He
Jackson.
was also a deadhead, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
they
standing
were all from
behind
the
Bill
same
But he's not
Jackson,
nearly
he had
as
a
tall.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do a little Where We At, Brad?
I was just gonna say, Lou, where are we at?
We're across the street from my kid's pediatrician's office. Shout
Oh,
out to
yeah. All right.
Ballard Pediatrics.
All right.
In
That'll
fact-
That'll definitely paint a picture for our listener.
In fact, since
Oh, the pediatric office. Of course. Oh, yeah.
since we were already going to be here, I thought I'd do 2 birds, 1 stone. So
Oh.
I scheduled the kids' annual appointments for late this afternoon. In fact,
And get the kids there now.
yeah.
Are they waiting out in the car right now?
No, I wanted to be a good father, so I just told him to go next door and hang out at the Playground Cabaret. I think it's like a kids' play place.
Why don't you
It's
just
something like that. It's cabaret kids. I don't know.
Why don't you just tell them to come over here and hang out in the patio?
Well, anyway, what's the Playground Cabaret, Jeremy?
You're asking me? I fucking know. I have no idea.
It's a gentleman's club.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah. So in terms of where
What's
we're
the
at,
word?
we are next door to a gentleman's club.
Oh.
What's its name again?
Playground Cabaret.
Playground Cabaret. I guess that says it all right there.
I thought it was a kid's. And across the street and up a block from the pediatrician's office is the Sands. Also,
The casino?
a well-known strip club,
Oh.
just like this one. And
Okay.
It's a little seedy stretch of road right here.
well, did you know there's actually a law on the books in Seattle where there can only be 5 titty bars in the city at one time, and 2 of them are on this block.
You can only have 5 in the city at one time. Really?
Yeah, 2 are next to the pediatrician's office.
Is that a
And
liquor control board
Quick
rule?
quiz, guys. Where are the other 3?
Lake City Way.
Lake City Way.
Next to friends of the podcast.
The Shanty.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Well, that's where the Colacurcio set up their strip club empire. So
That's right.
it's pretty much
Bob
the remnants
runs
of
right
that.
in here. There's one right. Any tourist who's been here one time
that's
knows
right.
that one.
Well, and the Lusty Lady at one point.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
that
the
Lusty
only,
Lady, yeah.
real strip club that counts.
Yeah, yeah.
On the leaderboard, the best time is said, many BC we came, you saw we conquered. Many.
Oh, their mark keyboard was awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
notorious.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fifth one is of course right next to Mariners baseball stadium.
Okay.
Showgirls. So those are the 5.
So you have those mapped out pretty good, Lou.
I do.
Right. Yeah, come to the website. We've got you can download the map of all the strip clubs in Seattle.
Well, since we're at the bar that's next to 2 of the 5,
Yeah.
right?
And come
Well,
to
you
our
know-
come to our website. You can
No,
find
no.
the secret 6th strip club that is unknown to the
Where
SPD.
we are at is not about the strip clubs of Seattle. There's something else going on here because we're in beautiful Ballard again, and there's so many possibilities for shows because there's so many great dive bars, right?
Consider this Crown Hill or is Crown Hill adjacent?
Crown Hill starts at 80th. Yeah, and to the west. So
To the west. So this is
we're
Ballard
still
proper.
in Ballard. Yeah,
Okay.
we are in Ballard proper, and this is our 4th show in Ballard, right?
That's right.
That sounds about right.
We did the
right.
Sloop, we did Hattie's, we did Water Wheel, which is also
Yeah, you're right. So this is
right
number
down
4,
the block. So the where we're at was getting stretched a little thin. Like we already know about William Ballard winning the town by losing a bet in the Edith Macefield house that mirrored the movie Up.
Episode in season whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. That's right.
So Brad had a good suggestion. He was like, "You're a music head. See if there's a music thing in Ballard." And indeed, there is.
Nice.
All right. Let's call this segment Ballard Rocks. Satan's Pilgrims, play some rock and roll. All right. Seattle's favorite son and leader of my favorite 90s band that we just heard is from Ballard, Chris Cornell, Soundgarden.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, R.I.P. Chris Cornell. He grew up on Jones Avenue over by Salmon Bay Park. And that's hence the name of his first band, the Jones Street Band, where he was actually the drummer. And Chris also worked as a sous chef at Ray's Boathouse. Shout
I
out.
did not know that. A sous chef
Yeah.
at Ray's Boathouse.
That was before he hit it the big time. He didn't have
Another
the sous-
another delicious dive bar in the Seattle area.
That's right.
Ray's Boathouse.
But yeah, that's just the tip. Check this out. Some amazing albums were recorded in Ballard. There's a recording studio that's now called the Hall of Justice.
What was it called back then?
It's had several names over the years. The building started as a grocery stand, like produce stand, in 1917. And in 1976, someone built a recording studio. And in
Called Chilchol.
1986, Jack Endino from Sub Pop bought it and called it Reciprocal Records.
Oh, okay.
Right? And it hosted basically the birth of grunge. So Green River, Dry as a Bone,
I had that album. Yeah.
recorded in Ballard. Soundgarden, Screaming Life.
Yep.
Nirvana, Bleach. Come on.
Never heard of that one. No.
Yeah. Mudhoney's debut album and Superfuzz.
I was just
Big
waiting
Muff.
to see if you're going to say Mudhoney. That's a classic album.
Yeah, if you're
They all
Ballard proud, it's not a stretch to say grunge comes from Ballard.
Okay.
Yeah. And here's a short list of some other killer albums that came out of there. Jack Endino sold it in 1993, and it became known as John and Stu's. Right? And from there, we got Built to Spill, There's Nothing Wrong with Love.
There you go.
Nice.
Slater Kinney's first 2 albums. 2 albums that are on Brad's list, Death Cab for Cutie, Transatlanticism,
Yeah.
Ballard.
Okay.
Modest Mouse, The Lonesome Crowded West.
Big Modest Mouse found, especially from that era. Yep.
Fleet Foxes, Helplessness Blues. Come on, the hits keep coming.
Wow.
The Postal Service, Give Up. Ballard. Pretty cool, huh?
That is cool.
The current owner who changed the name to Hall of Justice is actually Chris Walla
Okay.
from Death Cab for Cutie. And so
A lot of those bands actually on tour right now. Death Cab for Cutie, Modest Mouse.
They're touring with Postal Service doing the
Yeah.
Give Up and Transatlanticism
Yeah.
anniversary tour right now.
There is some
Yeah.
killer classic music on the road right now.
Yep.
And it all comes from Ballard. We keep saying everything comes from Ballard on the show. It all comes from Ballard. Another cool thing is it's not too far from my house, and I've been driving by it my whole life and I had no idea it was there. Remember the guy who came over here and talked about the 4 Bs in Ballard, that bar?
yeah.
It's right next to that, right next to the Old Hills Brewery. Ballard Fred Meyer. It's this tiny triangle building on the corner
Okay.
that's been cranking out all these killer songs. Right next to the 4 Bs. All right, I got one more thing. I'm not done yet. Have you ever heard of the Music Bank?
What is it called?
The Music Bank.
No, I don't. I can't say I have.
It was another sacred space for music in Ballard.
I want to go make a withdrawal right now.
Right.
That's right. It was an abandoned warehouse over by what's now Trader Joe's in the Edith Macefield house. And it was a ton of bands used this as a rehearsal space because it was almost half abandoned, but the electricity still worked and the wiring was good enough. And so
Nice.
ones who did get charged rent, it was super duper cheap. So like Alice in Chains, that's where they cut their chops. Back when
Nice.
they were Alice in Chains with a Z.
When they were kind of a glam band.
Yeah,
they were kind of
totally.
glammy. Yeah.
Like Lane Staley actually lived there for a while.
Wow.
And this band on the jukebox right now, Pearl Jam, that's where Mother Love Bone also cut their chops.
Nice.
It was Alice in Chains and Mother Love Bone was their practice space at the same time. So
Fucking A.
Super cool, man.
That's a good. That's a nice bank.
Alice in Chains.
I'd open an account there.
Soundgarden, Mudhoney, Ballard.
Wow.
That's pretty cool, right?
No, I
Actual
never.
rock and roll came from Seattle.
That's
Yeah,
right.
everybody knows that.
I always assumed it was like somewhere in Pioneer Square or, somewhere like that where a lot of this was recorded. I didn't know it was here in Ballard. That's
Their
super cool.
offices are right downtown. You
Yeah.
think it'd be somewhere around there, right?
But that makes sense because Ballard at that point was much
Stupid
more
cheap.
stupid cheap, and a lot more like kind of industrial space spot, like old warehouses and stuff. There was a lot of that were just kind of hanging out. So, yeah.
A lot of similar vibes to like South Lake Union back in the day, right? Industrial warehouses, people would sack up there and do practice space and shit, and then
Yeah. Right
Ultra
here in Ballard. Who
gentrified.
knew?
Do you want me to talk about the Tractor Tavern? Or you want me to save that for another show? What do you think, Brad?
I think we have another Ballard spot coming up.
Yeah,
So
I was
let's
going to
save it
say
for that.
I can do
Yeah.
Don't skip
Tractor
ahead, Lou.
Tavern / Ballard Firehouse.
I definitely want to cover the
/
Tractor.
Sunset Tavern.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That
we
whole-
could. I could. Yeah, we'll save that.
We'll save that one. That's a good one. That's a good story, though.
Right on. All right.
All right, what are you guys ready to land this plane?
Yeah, I think so. Let's wrap it up. Let's land this
land this
plane.
Thunderbird.
Let's
All right.
land this Thunderbird.
Awesome. Well, until next time, thank you for joining us. This is Dim Lights and Stiff Drinks, the Dive Bars of Seattle. Cheers.
Like, subscribe, click, and slam and mash and whatever the
Any
other stuff you do.
support to the show is much appreciated.
All right.
All right. Cheers.